one of the things that I think is really important here is that they actually give you a script. I think it's important that that we have that that you know what you want to say and that you prepare what you're going to say. So if when reading that, Eric, you'll also read through the script.
Okay, so are we doing the first find a storyteller or
No,
the
well,
contact?
to contact the storyteller.
Okay,
Yeah.
first contact. It is important that the storyteller is given adequate information about the oral history project before they are interviewed, but you do not want to send it all at once. If you do not have an email address, you can talk with them over the phone. Here's a sample introductory email that can adapt in your own words, can double as a phone script. Hello, Jane. I'm working to collect oral histories as part of a People's History Harlem 115th Street Library Oral History Project. I know that you lived in the neighborhood for many years, and I'm interested in your recording your story to be a part of this collection. Your story will be an important part of the New York Public Library's collection that future generations can listen to and research years from now. Please let me know if you're available to record your story for this project and when would be the best time for you. The interview typically lasts between 45 minutes to 2 hours. It will be audio recorded. I'll be happy to answer your questions you may have about the project, and I look forward to finding time to record your story. Thank you, John.
Okay, thank you, Eric. That was very good. Are there any questions about that? So I just think that it's good to have a script so that you get all the information out that you want to share with the potential interviewee, and it's good to have the script because it helps to um, make it's persuasive. It helps convince the person, the potential interviewee, that they should participate in this project, and it gives them a certain level of comfort in going through the process. Um, if you go to page 7, set up a time and place. We're going to be doing the interviews on site at the business place of business, because with businesses, if you try and arrange appointments with them and have them meet you at another location, a lot of times that's not possible because they're sole owners, they're sole proprietors, and there's only one person in the business, or maybe another person, and then things come up and things get hectic, and you'll show up for an interview and they won't show up. So if you're at their place of business and make an appointment to see them, then it just makes it much easier for them. And then the equipment, we have the recorder there, and the library has recorders that you can take out in addition to what we have here. And they provide the recorder, batteries, a camera, which I would, if you have an iPhone, I would use the iPhone. And then the paperwork that's required, they have to fill out a data sheet, and they have to fill out sign a release form. And also, I like the idea of bringing tissues because sometimes this process can be emotional for people. So you want to provide them with some comfort. Um, and then on page 8, um, Aaliyah, if you could read number 1, and then Alana, you can read number 2 and 3.
Okay. Have the storyteller fill out data sheet. Explain why we need this. We need this to keep track of our interviews and the names and information of people who have come to be recorded for a People's History of Harlem 115th Street Library's Oral History Project. 2. Tell the storyteller about the project after they fill out the data sheet. You tell them your role in the interview, what the project is, simple description, and the oral history time limit. And right before you press record, you ask, before we start, do you have any questions?
And then it's a good idea to test the equipment. It's pretty basic. It's an on and off button, and then there's a record button. Okay, and then Alana, can you read the first section as stated at the beginning of the interview?
Um, Hello, my name is Alana, and I'm going to have a conversation with blank for a People's History of Harlem, an oral history project at the New York Public Library. It is this date, I should say January 7th,
Right.
and this is being recorded at this location.
Right, exactly. So that's how you would start out the interview process and make sure that this part gets recorded. So that's kind of like the introduction. And then the second part, Aaliyah, can you read that? And now on to the questions.
All right. First question. Open with a question like, tell me a bit about where you come from that allows the storyteller to feel comfortable. Question order. Think about ordering the questions in a way so that the first few questions are easier to answer. Final questions can be fact-gathering questions if there were some parts of stories that you missed that may be important for the archive. Questions to ask. After the narrator answers your first question, it might be good to ask questions that pertain to the topic of the oral history interview. What do you remember about moving to Harlem? What was Harlem like at the time? Can you tell me about any of the shops or restaurants you went to? Tell me about some of your neighbors. What are your memories of the library? Can you talk about one or more communities you felt connected to? How has this changed over the years? How did these groups help shape the neighborhood? Were you aware of other communities in the neighborhood that you did not identify with?
One definition of a community is a group of people with a shared identity. Of course, there are usually many communities within a neighborhood. Aaliyah, would you read the third, other interview considerations?
Sure. It also covers sensitive topics. When asking questions during an interview, it is always okay to say, I know this is a very sensitive topic, or forgive me for not knowing this, but could you explain what? Be honest, more bold, push further, make mistakes in the process, and learn from them. Trust your curiosity. Ask what you're curious about and trust your own curiosity. Interviewing is not a science. It is imperfect and it gets better with practice. Don't be afraid to make mistakes. It's okay if questions fall flat. That's a part of the learning process. And back pocket questions. When you don't want to move away from a topic, go deeper with, could you give examples of such and such? What did you feel? What happened next? Could you paint a picture in words of?
Very good, Aaliyah. Eric, could you read the section on what about silence?
Okay.
Silence is not a bad thing.
Silence is not bad in oral history interview. Even though we are trained in everyday conversation to fill up the silence, we need to let go that an oral history interviewer. Silence could mean many things. Maybe the storyteller is thinking or changing their mind. You certainly don't want to interrupt their story or thought process. 5-second rule. It is good to count to 5 in your head before you interrupt with another question. This way gives the storyteller plenty of time.
And silence can be for any number of things. And I just made notes here, based on the fact that I interviewed someone who's really close to 100 years old. It's just a time for rest and time for them to collect their thoughts and to think more about what it is they're saying, or they may have to consider, the next question that you're asking. They may just need some time to think about it. So just, I think it's important to be patient